Mississippi Sigma at the University of Southern Mississippi has produced a number of leaders for Sigma Alpha Epsilon nationally. Names like Ron Doliak, Jim Pope, Todd Buchanan. But the chapter has produced other leaders who haven't carried the organization's gavel or worn the big badge. Bobby Banks is one of those men. He's made an impression on generations of brothers. That's because he's a role model through and through, the kind of guy who's like Dad. He's great to have around, but he'll keep you in line when it's time.
A lot of their younger alumni that didn't have, a father figure in their life, and they refer to Bobby so many times as being, as filling that void.
Bobby's work with undergraduates is so common and reaches back so many years, it's harder to find someone who doesn't know him. Undergrads call him Mr. Bobby. Even young alums call him that because he commands respect, no matter how old they are.
His constancy is certainly remarkable, and his commitment to these young men is exceptional.
Bobby's story starts back at the beginning of the 1970s. He transferred to Southern Miss with a well-known face in tow, that of past ESA Jim Pope. Both of them joined SAE, and ironically, both of them wound up in the insurance business. But Bobby is the one who brought Jim Pope to the fraternity, and not the other way around. In fact, Bobby had to convince the chapter to let Jim be a pledge.
I would never have been an SAE, would never have even understood what SAE is or what it's about if it hadn't been for Bobby Banks. For me, he was the one.
During college, Bobby juggled a lot of responsibility, taking class, working full-time, and coaching kids. It's always been important for him to help guide young men, serving as their role model and peer. To the men of Mississippi Sigma, that bond runs even deeper. For dozens of men, it was an opportunity they needed.
But I think that's what he's seen. He's seen the opportunity to mentor some young men and to put something into their lives and encourage them.
Once he graduated, Bobby launched his career in the tumultuous insurance industry as an agent. What made him effective was his ability to relate to the common, everyday sort of guy. And eventually, that's what propelled him into branching off and starting his own well-established business. Bobby should be credited with two main objectives that enhanced the Sigma Alpha Epsilon experience at Southern Miss. First, he was one of the creators behind the Mississippi Sigma Alumni Association, hoping to create it in the late 1970s. Then, Bobby served as chapter advisor for nearly 30 years. While a lot of men would have stuck it out just for a few years, he never looked back and continued to do what he does best: check in on the men. Let them know he cares. Let them know he'd drop anything for them in a minute if they needed help. Bobby, as it turns out, is the epitome of Todd Buchanan's Be the One challenge, and the epitome of what we embody in the ritual.
If anybody believes in this book, he certainly does, and as I said, he takes it to heart, and I think that's why he's had such a great run.
So as Bobby has committed himself to serving the young men who pass through Mississippi Sigma's doors, he also commits himself to the most important group of people in his life, his family, and his God. He and his wife Julie have 3 daughters, and he considers himself blessed. Although Bobby does not have a son of his own, in a way, he's had hundreds of sons. He says if there is a plan for all of us, this could be his, put on this earth to impact the lives of young men year after year.
So I have to believe that this is part of God's plan for Bobby. I hope, I'm sure that it's part of it.
Life is about memories, and as we go through life, we remember those people who've touched us, the ones who've left us with a lasting impression. For generations of pledge classes at Southern Miss, that person is Mr. Bobby, the man who sticks to his principles and to our creed.
I don't think you could find anyone that could say that he's anything short of a man of integrity and honor, and a man who that you would trust your life with.
For his lifetime of caring and commitment, and that touch of reminding us that someone is watching out for us, Sigma Alpha Epsilon presents its 127th Distinguished Service Award to Robert Henry Banks, Jr. from Mississippi Sigma at the University of Southern Mississippi.